Welcome back. So we are joined with a very special guest today. You may have seen the Haley Page wedding dresses in local boutiques in the area. Well, the former Say Yes to the Dress designer had to legally change her name from Haley Page Gutman to Cheval after those contract negotiations went south. And Cheval joins us virtually right now. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Oh, happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So let's start from the beginning. For those at home that might not know your story, you lost not only your legal name, but your social media accounts, essentially your identity. You couldn't create what you were passionate about. What has that been like for you?
It has been a traumatizing experience, but it's also allowed me to kind of reframe and re-identify. I am a creator, so in a way, creating a name was a very unique category for me. I actually do still have my legal name, but I cannot use my former name, my birth name, in any business or commercial activity or to publicly identify. So Cheval was the name I chose to, move forward and find those fresh steps.
Yeah, and what was that like for you? You basically had to start from the ground up. Were you scared at all?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think the term fearless doesn't mean without fear. It just means fear less than you want something. And for me, I just want to express joy and bring joy to women and make them feel empowered. And I did that a very specific way with a trade set that I've, gone all in on with my education and my industry experience. And now that I'm under a 5-year provision in which I cannot identify to the trade as a designer in the category that my former employer competes, I've essentially had to pick up a new trade.
Yeah.
So that's been shoes.
And we have some of the shoes on the screen right now. They are simply stunning. What was that like for you to be able to dive into this new kind of outlet? And you mentioned you empower women, and I feel like you're empowering women through your shoes and your designs right now.
Oh, thank you. That's the hope. I definitely feel like I'm an emotional creator. And so shoes is a category that really carries you places. And I love that it's kind of metaphorical for walking your own road and standing up for yourself. And some of my skill set was a bit transferable, but ultimately, shoes is a totally different category.
Yeah.
And, I've had to find myself in a new trade and train myself.
So take us through that moment when you decided your new name. And you mentioned the shoes is very metaphorical to you. It's basically walking in a new path. What was that moment when you're like, okay, I want to go by Cheval?
First and foremost, I just loved the way it sounded. And I love that it's the French word for horse. I've always been very imaginative in my art and love a good unicorn Pegasus moment. So Cheval was just something that made me happy, and I was excited about stepping into it. And it is the name I'm choosing to use publicly at the moment. But I also just feel like it's a representation of not letting circumstances define you. And that's kind of my mission moving forward with our nonprofit that's launching today.
I know. We're going to get to that in just a second. But when you first started in this fashion industry, you were a young woman starting your career. You signed a contract without a lawyer. What advice do you have for other young women out there looking to start careers, be it in fashion or in another area of life?
Chasing down those big dreams should not come at the expense of certain things. And in my case, I believe they shouldn't come at the expense of your rights. So my advice and all that I've been through is to really find ways to protect yourself. And that does mean, of course, consulting with a lawyer. But I feel like there tends to be this societal pressure in which, we could lose out on opportunities or our dream job if we don't say yes.
Yeah.
And so I think I've just learned the power of no and standing up for myself while still wanting to be a joyful and happy person. You can find ways to negotiate. And that's kind of what my message is in all that I've learned is, going after your dreams shouldn't come at the expense of certain things.
Yeah, absolutely. And you touched on your special foundation that's launching today, A Girl You Might Know. Tell us about this.
Yes, so this is a nonprofit that safeguards and protects the interests of young women and creatives, especially during those formative years. I signed an employment agreement when I was 25 without a lawyer, and that is kind of what captured a lot of the things afterward. But I very much feel like this foundation will offer resources and referrals to affordable attorneys and legal counsel, potentially even creating curriculum and negotiation tips, just so that we can help even the playing field when you're showing up for those big opportunities.
Yeah, and really fast, if people at home want to learn more about the foundation that launches today and your shoes, where can they go?
We have our website, which is sheischeval.com, and we just launched our foundation, a girl you might know foundation.org, today. And we're even accepting applications for our yearly grant, which will hopefully provide financial resources in those beginning steps of a young creator's career.
And Cheval, we are almost out of time, but really fast, do you have a piece of advice or words of encouragement that you want to share to women out there?
Hold on to your sense of self. I feel like it's tough to know what you're worth, but just make sure that you put yourself on the highest shelf where the valuables are and add tax.
I love it. Definitely add that tax. Thank you so much for joining us to share your story with our viewers today.
My pleasure.
Of course, if you at home want to learn more about the foundation and Cheval's shoes, head to our website, klaf.com. Everything you need to know is going to be right there. Right now, let's check in with meteorologist Michael Crowley.